So you took it away, set it on the floor, and then told him to take a drink.
No, I didn't.
Which his other option was then the floor. So he could reach it and drink the coffee that he paid for. And still, stay within your realm of approval on these type of things.
Good luck, Larry. You're not going to win this. I can tell you right now.
Hey, I'm Larry. He's Billy. Welcome to Carter's Country. Today we're going to talk about 5.56s versus 300 Blackout. And it's not really a versus because they're so different. Comparing them is kind of an apples and oranges type deal.
Basically.
We'll just kind of go through what each caliber excels at, why the popularity of each caliber, because next to the 5.56, I think the 300 Blackout is the most popular caliber in the AR platform, and it seems to have a pretty good hold there. I don't think it's going anywhere.
No, sir. I think it'll be around to stay for a while.
Yeah.
Just kind of a brief intro history of the 300 Blackout. It actually back in the early 1990s when silhouette shooting was real big. They were always looking for big, heavy bullets to shoot like the metallic silhouettes with. So they took a 221 fireball and they actually necked it out, take a 30 caliber bullet, and then hence that became the 300 Whisper. Okay, 300 Whisper was basically the predecessor to the 300 Blackout. 300 Blackout was developed for a lot of military applications, law enforcement applications, where they were needing something which would be better designed for protection purposes, and also very well liked by the hunting industry because of all the hogs and so forth we shoot. I mean, we do a whole lot more efficient job of taking care of the hogs. If you go back and look at the cases, they're basically the same, but they mainly they actually head stamp 300 Blackout on the cases now, of course, and then they're also semi-spec now too.
Okay, so it's there to stay. It's
it's very well established.
Official.
Right. I mean, you could shoot just like 300 Whisper loads to a 300 Blackout, but most people don't suggest you to because it's quote unquote a wildcat cartridge.
Right.
So but I mean, it wouldn't be an issue more than likely with anything like that.
You mentioned the pigs and the law enforcement and a heavier bullet basically is one of the things that it brings to the table.
Right.
But then you also, the name 300 Whisper kind of reminded me, the 300 Blackout, you can load it subsonic with a heavier grain bullet, and with a suppressor on the end, the Whisper's no joke. I've seen videos of one being shot with a suppressor on it, and it is amazing how quiet that caliber can get.
Absolutely. That's why so many people like them for the hog hunting aspects, because they can take care of a lot of business at one time.
Yeah. And
but no, it is super quiet. Probably one of the quietest like suppressed rifles out there on the market.
Right.
Very efficient, very lethal animals for sure. Anything. I mean, a lot of people hunt deer with them now too.
Yeah.
They're very well established in the hunting industry for sure.
I've been on one hunting trip where a 300 Blackout was used, and I will say it was not quiet at all because it was a pistol length barrel. I think it was somewhere between an 8.5 and a 10. Right. Did not have a suppressor on it, but that is one loud round coming out of a short barrel. I wasn't sure if the coyote died because the bullet hit him or his eardrums ruptured and he just, decided to die. Yeah, the guy next to me said, hey, cover your ears. And, I'm from that older, dumber generation of hearing protection, whatever. And so I kind of halfway, and dude, when that thing went off, ooh.
Especially at them short barrels like that, they really get a lot of percussion back at you along the way.
Talking about the short barrel deal, that's another area where the 300 Blackout I think has a little bit of advantage over the 5.56. With a shorter barrel, 8.5 to 10 inches, you can use all the power you're going to get out of that round with a shorter barrel. It's going to burn all the powder. In other words, all the pressure that you're able to create before the bullet leaves that barrel, you can get all of that in there. An AR pistol in a 5.56 will function fine. It's effective. It does its job. But you're leaving some of the power on the table with the shorter barrel in it. Am I right there?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay.
I mean, the 223 and the 5.56, you will lose a little velocity along the way with shorter barrel.
Right.
But I've taken like a couple of different, like 300 Blackouts to the range before and shot from 0 to 600 yards with it. The 10-inch and the 16-inch barrels, all the same.
Wow.
They still run together. Most people are already involved with 5.56, 223 guns as it is, and I think that it would become a very good addition to your actual family of guns that you get involved with, as far as like the 300 Blackout would be. I mean, I mean, like we've already kind of talked about, you're going to get a very stable round. You're going to be able to shoot a whole lot wider range of bullets to the actual guns. I mean, I hand load a lot, so I hand load anything from the 110 grain, like a bliss tip type bullet, all the way up to 240 grain subsonic, like these Sierra match schemes they make.
Okay, so yeah, the bigger caliber, I guess, leaves you with more room to be creative there. I think the 110 to 125 grain is kind of where most people land as far as hunting rounds.
Correct.
And then, like we talked about, you get over the 200 grains, then you're kind of pointing specifically to a subsonic application.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a couple of hoops you got to go through when you start shooting subsonics, and you can't normally just take a gun that's like set up for supers and just start shooting subs. I suggest you get involved with a good gunsmith just to be sure it gets done right. But I mean, but then you'll have to do some modifications to the gun in order for it to really function well with like the subsonic ammo, because it's a way different pressure curve by far on it.
A lot greater and.
Well, a lot less with the actual big bullets like that.
Oh,
you don't
okay.
have much pressure build up, so you don't have you're only running like these 240 grain Sierras. You're running about probably 950 feet per second.
Okay.
Which is pretty light.
Right.
Just right down to it, so you don't have a lot of action, a lot of pressure to push the action back.
Okay.
So you need to take to a good gunsmith, and please don't do this, but old school thinking, you just take the recoil spring out and you clip off one coil until you come in modified. But that's way old school thing that nobody should do. Unless
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things that used to seem like good ideas that maybe now we realize that's not such a good idea.
Yeah, from then on, I'll always just let somebody else set it up for me like that. And just as a word of caution, this is actually a 223 bolt that somebody messed up and put 150 grain 300 Blackout round in it, and it actually pulled the trigger.
Hey.
Yeah, this 150 grain bullet that almost sways down to a 22 caliber hole.
Right, by the time it got
and luckily the gentleman who did this actually lived through the process.
All right, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Probably won't do that again.
Probably not.
But it's a tribute to the actual the actual safety features that manufacturers have built into these guns now. Because in all likelihood, I mean, the bolt head is actually welded to the actual barrel shroud right there. So I mean, it was that much pressure went through.
Right.
The gun was not usable anymore. But luckily, the gentleman had some powder residue, like in his cheeks. Of course, luckily he was wearing eye pro that day.
Right.
And but
that's
of
why
course,
you
the
do
gun
that
was trash.
Yeah.
The gun was trash, so he went and gave that to me just so I could have that.
Cool. Cool.
And then I had a machinist friend of ours kind of cut it out so we have it like kind of a show and tell kind of thing for
So you could see exactly why you don't do that.
Yeah.
To that point, though, I can understand, because the same magazine can be used for either caliber. Your AR-15 platform. To your point about always knowing which round you're putting into which gun, and you talked about it's best to have some work done by a gunsmith when you're going to go to subsonic. You've got these labeled clearly with these little rubber bands like you wear on your wrist. This one just says 300 AAC Black. This one actually very bright lettering behind a black background tells you it's subsonic. So
Right.
I mean, here you're talking about the same caliber, but a difference that really matters. So always be sure what round you're putting in which firearm. You don't want to tear the gun up, but that's really secondary to you don't want to test how good your eye protection is, or you don't. It's just better safe than sorry. You talked a little bit about the Blackout, and we haven't really gotten into the range yet. Some of the tables I've looked at, the Blackout will drop considerably faster than the 5.56. What's the key to getting the most out of your 300 Blackout as far as range-wise and being able to make shots beyond what most people, including myself, until I sat down with you, thought the range was on a 300 Blackout?
More than anything else, it's just like spending time at a distance type range and actually just shooting it. I mean, the only reason I know they would do that is because I just did it. I just tried. And before I had the actual scopes that were calibrated for the actual 300 Blackouts, and we would just sit out there and we'd work through the range. I mean, we
the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, just we go out there and we just see what works.
Yeah.
You have to start at 100 and work your way out to 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s. I mean, they're there's no real science to it like people want to try to think. I mean, it's just a matter of just doing it.
Yeah.
And once you get, I mean, just take notes as you go. You know, like as like you should be able to. It's like if I need to come up 24 clicks for a 350-yard shot. I mean, a lot of people will put cheat sheets on the actual guns and so forth, where they have information like that, at their fingertips.
Right.
You know, but I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Really not brain science.
Now, the 5.56 was, it was designed for the greater distance, smaller projectile,
Right.
a lot more speed with it. But, the Blackout, like you said, if you're willing to put the time and effort into it, you can get to some ranges that'll still do a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just keep in mind, subsonics will definitely drop like a rock.
Yeah.
For sure. But I mean,
But it'll drop quietly.
Yeah, very true.
As far as what you're hunting with a 5.56 versus the 300 Blackout, I saw a coyote taken with the 300 Blackout. I would have really liked it to have been a hog, because I know a coyote, a 5.56 will handle that all day long, and plenty of hogs get killed with a 5.56. But I would have liked to have seen, the terminal effects of the 300 Blackout in a bigger animal. It's common sense tells you it's a bigger round. It's gonna hit hard.
Yeah, it will. I mean, anytime you have more actual bullet mass going in something, it's going to create more muzzle shock. And muzzle shock is really what actually does the most lethal damage to a lot of animals. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, besides hitting the vitals
Right.
along the way. But so yes, absolutely. I mean, your 300 Blackout will give you more knockdown power. I mean, all the articles I've read through the years, people shoot deer, they shoot, small bears with 300 Blackouts and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's just overall a more versatile cartridge for a little wider view of things along the way.
Right.
If you're a hand loader, 300 Blackout is super duper easy to load. I've been loading for years, and I load a lot of 300 Blackout because I love to shoot their caliber a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, great gun to play with for sure.
You're not the first guy that I've talked to that's a reloader that huge fan of the 300 Blackout. So.
Well, it's one of those cartridges that you really can't mess up on, because you can set progressive presses up. Because I mean, 18 grains of H110 will pretty much fill that case up. So there's really no way that you can double charge stuff or anything.
Right.
So it's pretty simple. Even dum-dums like me can do it.
You said it can't be messed up. You
Obviously don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. Just for the record, it can be messed up if you do something wrong, put the wrong powder in.
I know you've taken hogs with yours. Have you taken any other game with it, or?
I've shot deer with them before.
Yeah.
I mean, I've shot coyotes. I mean, I've shot a little bit of everything with them.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
What for an old guy like me that grew up with, far fewer calibers than are available now. As far as calibers that everyone knows, the 300 Blackout, is it kind of 30-30-ish, or what caliber would you say if?
It's really, if you wanted to put it in that kind of light, it's probably pretty close to a 30-30, because I mean, 30-30 is not a super fast cartridge either in a 30 cal bullet.
Right.
And it drops like a rock past 100 yards also.
Yeah.
So it would probably be somewhere in between a super and a sub and a 300 Blackout.
So I try to translate into older gun terms. So it's possible to have a 30-30 with a 10, 20 round magazine in it, semi-automatic. That's mind blowing.
Yep.
I grew up on Marlin Winchester.
Yep.
Just like the rifleman.
Right. A little different than that.
Quite a bit different.
Yeah, but I mean, the sky's the limit really as far as magazine capacity. They've got some 50-round drums for them out there now that you can work with.
Good Lord.
Like you would need that many for hogs.
Yeah, I mean, if there's that many hogs, just turn around and get out of there. Right. Come back with a lot more people or a helicopter.
Yeah, that'd be the thing.
Oh, that would be. I've never done it, but that just.
Oh, I've done it one time this past year. I'll do it again.
Yeah, I saw some pictures. So many reasons on a daily basis I'm jealous of you when it comes to guns and hunting experience.
Shut up, Larry.
It's just not.
It's not fair, huh?
It's really not fair. It's really not fair. But I'll get by. Don't worry about me. If someone doesn't have either one, if they don't have a 5.56 or a 300 Blackout, the best way for them to make a decision. Well, first of all, we here at Cars Country recommend buying one of each.
Yeah, of course.
That's clearly the best solution.
Absolutely.
But for those guys that are married, and you can only get one or the other, or you have budget issues, and who doesn't these days. But I think the best way to decide is you have to know, what am I wanting this thing to do? Right. What do I want it for? And if you really sit down and answer that question to yourself, videos like this or information out there on the internet, then you learn about the capabilities, possibilities with each caliber, and then your own, plan for it is really what will decide.
Well, that, and probably the big thing would be too is like how much shooting are you really going to do? Because if you're going to shoot a lot, you probably need to stick with 5.56 because that ammo is much more available currently
and less expensive.
Relative to
the, that's a
it's
great
more
point,
more of a true target round if you want to just go out and have fun on range.
Right.
Probably not going to be able to do it as much with the 300 Blackout
No.
as you would do with. There are some loads out, but they're still not up to 100% capacity. Like there's not many 300 Blackout loads out there available at the moment,
right?
As versus the 5.56.
But I think it will eventually get there, but
Right.
I don't think it'll ever get there to match it on cost.
If you're hand loaded, you can load them at the same cost.
Right.
But it's not as far as the factory stuff. I don't think so. Probably not.
And target shooting is your main goal. Then probably just the economics of the ammunition and availability. Right. The 5.56 is your choice.
Would be yes, for mine for sure.
But so there. I think to sum it up, there's not really a better one because you're comparing a car to a truck. They're built for two different reasons. So what are you going to use it for? It tells you which one you should get.
Correct.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. Well, we hope this video has helped. We hope you've enjoyed it, learned a little something from it. Please go down there, hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed to our channel, please do so. We drop a new video every Friday. Comment section, we leave the comment section open. Sometimes, sometimes maybe I wish we wouldn't, but we leave the comment section open. We want to hear what you think of the videos we've done, what you think about videos you'd like to see. Let us know. We'll do our best to deliver for you. Remember, if you've ever shot, or hunted with us, you're already a part of the Carter's Country family. Until next time, adios. She's smiling. I guess we're okay.
Guess so.
It's our cross to bear. All right.
Bear. Bear.
I will walk off this set.
You put your little hands up too. It's fine. Sorry. Go ahead.
My little hands.
Sorry, your big manly bear hands.
So demeaning.
Your big
These
bear
paws.
paws. Yeah.
Can we just start the video and stop being hurtful? That was the most unnecessary statement ever. Was telling you not to worry about me. So,
moving right along.
yeah, let's keep. So